So I told him that I was the first GuyRex girl, and GuyRex was a big deal. This was Richard Guy and Rex Holt, two guys who, because of me, I was the first one. They ended up buying the Miss Texas USA pageant because it was in dire straits.
Hi, readers. I'm so happy to have you here. I am really excited tonight for this interview. I'm interviewing Jane Little Botkin, and it's a little bit different from what I've done before, but she has written a memoir called The Pink Dress that sounds absolutely fascinating. So I hope you will check it out. Also, please remember to go to my website and sign up for my newsletter because you will get advance notice of sales and book releases and all sorts of fun things. And you'll also get to download a free book called Dandelion Meadows Christmas Kisses. And now's a good time to start getting your Christmas reading in. It's a fun, contemporary, sweet, small town romance that I know you're going to love. Also, I want you to know that I have a new cover for my Dandelion Meadows book. The cover is darling, and the book is so delightful. I hope you will check it out because I know you will love it. You can find that on Amazon. It's in Kindle and also paperback. And now I'm really, really excited to introduce Jane Little Botkin. Jane, thank you so much for being here today.
I am really excited to be here.
We only have a few minutes, but I would love to hear about you, your writing journey, your books. Just, can you encapsulate that in a few minutes?
Sure, I will. I never thought I could write at all. I taught high school English for 30 years.
Oh,
I taught freshmen, sophomore, and seniors, and I always thought that my students wrote so much better than I ever could. But while I was teaching, I did do, I guess about 20 years worth of county histories with my pre-AP freshman class. And they had to go out, they had to research, deep dive, archives, the whole bit. And the county now they're very valuable volumes because of this history, because the town I was teaching in, which was Dripping Springs, Texas, has almost been swallowed up by Austin. And so it was a great thing that I did do that. But they wrote so beautifully. But I love that research. I love taking them into courthouses. I love taking them to cemeteries, interviewing old timers. So when I retired in 2008, I knew there was a story in my family about my great grand uncle who was a union labor organizer. And he was actually my son's US AP history class, and he had to write an essay on him. And I thought, I need to tell that story when I retire. So that was my first book. And it took me 6 years to research it because I had to go into all these states. I am a nonfiction author, typically. I am a Western biographer. That was my first book. When I turned 65, it was published. And so, and there, I'll have a story about that in a moment. But so that's how I got started. And then I wrote another one. And then COVID came and I couldn't go out and research. So I thought, all right, what am I going to do? And right before COVID happened, I was sitting at a Western Women's Writing Conference in San Antonio, and I started imitating these contestants in the Miss Texas pageant for the Miss America pageant. And I was Miss El Paso in that pageant, and I was imitating a Miss East Texas candidate. And I got them laughing. Well, I'm a ham. And then they go, well, you're going to tell this story. So I told them that I was the first GuyRex girl, and GuyRex was a big deal. This was Richard Guy and Rex Holt, two guys who, because of me, I was the first one. They ended up buying the Miss Texas USA pageant because it was in dire straits. And then they took it on to produce six Miss Texas went on to win Miss USA. And because of them, when you saw a Miss USA at a Miss Universe pageant, she was standing there in cowboy boots, Western bolo, chaps. That's the way she represented the United States. So they basically brought the West to the world. And I thought, wow, that's quite a story. And then the agent was sitting at the table and she goes, you may find out this is a little bit more painful than you thought. Well, it was. as it turned out, my mom and I had a horrible relationship. That
Mm.
is in this book. There's romance in the book too, by the way, just so you know, for your readers. And it was painful. And I had an ailing mother I was taking care of. She was dying of lung cancer. And I knew there were a lot of things that happened. She wasn't a stage mother at all, believe me. So that is also in this book. And so when I had COVID, I thought, well, I didn't have COVID, but when COVID happened, I thought, what am I going to do? I can't go into the archives. I can't go anywhere. And I wrote the book. And it
Wow.
ended up being, a memoir. I never thought I could write a memoir or talk like at that time I was in that time setting, which was during the American counterculture. I'm 72 years old. And I wrote this book about 50 years ago, but I had enormous scrapbooks. I had I had so much material and a set of high school friends who remembered everything. And so I was able, because my mother was their Girl Scout leader and everything else. So that's how it came about. And sure enough, She Writes Press does memoirs beautifully. Simon and Schuster is the distributor, which is great. It's in my dreams. I mean, so it's just come out really nicely.
Oh, that is so fabulous. Wow, it sounds just fascinating, and the cover is stunning.
That is the dress.
That is the
Yeah.
dress. Oh my goodness.
Guy and Rex were known for their evening gowns. The girls in the Miss America pageant were coming to them after me to get their gowns made. I
Mm.
showed up in Fort Worth with 5 gowns when most girls had $50 to go get a swimsuit and an evening gown. And these guys are very flamboyant. I mean, they were so skilled. And they sent me to Fort Worth. And I mean, I had 2 vans full of clothes. I mean, it was just unbelievable. Well, on national TV, they saw these gowns and then of course, after that, Guy and Rex were known for their gowns as well.
Wow.
But She Writes Press says we need a photo of that dress, a professional one. I had to fly to Wimberley, Texas, or Dripping Springs, Texas, where the gown was stored, find a professional photographer. She said, I've never photographed a dress before. But she did, and it just came out beautifully. You
Oh,
probably have a lot of women readers.
yes,
You may have
mostly.
men too, but probably mainly women. And I'm associated with the Western Writers of America. I just stepped down from being their vice president. And of course, it's a lot of men. There's women too, but there's a lot of men. And so for me to be able to talk about my pink book, it's exciting.
It's so exciting. This year I'm asking all of the authors that I interview to share an inspirational quote or a thought with the readers that they might find meaningful. Have you got one that you would share with us?
I will use one that I used to teach, which was from A Raisin in the Sun with Lorraine Hansberry. And it's like something like, it's good to sit down a while and think. I think that we've just gotten to where we don't take the time to think much anymore. And then personally, I would say it's never too late to start. Because like I said, I
Absolutely.
didn't publish my first book until I was 65. And then I started publishing more books after that. And I really wish I'd started like, 40 years ago, but I had to have life experience first. So
Yeah, and that is so great. Everybody has their own path, and this is a wonderful path that you started on really later in life, but that's great. That's
yeah.
really great. I love that thought. I love that because I think about that a lot. Just a couple of fun questions. What is your favorite romantic movie? Have you got one?
Yes, Last of the Mohicans. Now, again, I'm a history nerd. I love historical fiction. That's Nathaniel, Hawthorne, and that has a great love story in it. And this last year, I got to go to Arthur's Ridge in Concord, Massachusetts, and it's where he's buried. I got to see his grave and Louisa May
Oh,
Alcott's. I mean,
cool.
that was an English teacher's dream. So yeah, but I love the movie. It was so romantic. It was so good.
Oh, I've had more than one person tell me that, an
Oh,
author.
it's excellent.
I haven't watched it. Okay, I
Oh,
need to
you
watch
need
it.
to. You need
I
to
don't
watch it.
really like violence, so I know it's kind of
Well, it's got some bloodshed in it for sure, but it's a wonderful story.
oh, so fun. Okay. All right. Great. That's my next movie. Um, okay, last question. You're stuck on a desert island. What 3 things would you take with you?
All right. I would take a big knife because then I could dig with it. And it's a desert, so there's no trees, but being an El Paso girl, I know you can dig in sand and hit water. Um, I would take an umbrella, not sunscreen, but an umbrella. And then I could also turn my umbrella upside down if it did rain, right? Catch some water. And then I started thinking, I taught Robinson Crusoe for years, to sophomores. And I thought, well, maybe there's some good advice in that. And I take that. And I thought, no, I think I'd take the Bible because at least I would have some hope,
Oh, I
So
love
those would be
that.
the three things that I would take.
Well, Jane, thank you so much. Readers, go check out The Pink Dress, coming out September 10th. You can pre-order it wherever books are sold, and I think you're going to be really, really excited about reading it.